Hey, Dr. Fischer here again with another frequently asked question about COVID-19 vaccination. So I've got a lot of questions since the vaccines were released earlier this winter. How were they able to get to market so quickly? Was the process rushed? Was it sloppy? Well, no, this is actually a very rigorous test, and it's gone through some of the most highest scrutinies that vaccines have ever been through before. Also, the platforms that these vaccines are based on are not new. You know, these platforms have gone through clinical trials. They have been worked on for 10 plus years. In fact, Moderna, their company name comes from modern RNA. This is what they do. You know, so the mRNA vaccine platform that Pfizer and Moderna use, this has been tested for a number of other diseases such as Zika, Ebola, CMV. They're also trying to make a universal flu vaccine. So this platform has gone through some levels of clinical trials, and these vaccines have been shown to be well tolerated, safe, and effective. You might ask why some of these other ones haven't got to market. Well, there's been less urgency. Those viruses haven't been causing a global pandemic, leading to shutdowns, leading to disease and death all across the world. You know, I think these technologies are very exciting, and I particularly think that the mRNA vaccine technology is going to win a Nobel Prize someday. Also, this mRNA technology and the adenovirus vector technology, they're more responsive to emergency situations. Once we're able to do the genetic sequencing, which now takes hours and days rather than years, we're able to kind of plug and play. We're able to move the vaccine along very quickly. You know, more traditional vaccines have required years and years of optimization. It's really difficult to produce the proteins in these other forms of vaccines. Also, in science, money equals progress. I hate to say that, but that's the truth. You know, and there have been billions and billions of dollars from the US alone and billions of dollars from other governments around the world, money from the private sector, money from private foundations that have contributed to the vaccine development. There's been an unprecedented urgency. You know, in this pandemic, it's been different than the ones we've had in the past. You know, we've had an HIV pandemic, which was, you know, it's been devastating, but it was much slower to spread. We've had influenza pandemics, but we've had existing technology for this. Also, what is an emergency use authorization? So in situations like a global pandemic, you know, vaccines or other tests, all the COVID tests are under EUA as well. The FDA allows them to get to market because they deem that the risk is far less than the reward. Again, these vaccines have gone through phase 3 clinical trials. Tens and tens of thousands of people received these vaccines, and very few had serious reactions. You know, usually it takes years to do a clinical trial. Not a lot of people are willing to sign up for, you know, experimental vaccine for a disease that won't kill them or a disease they might never see. In this case, we had tens of thousands of people signing up within weeks to try to get one of these vaccines. So we're able to really accelerate the process. You know, if you've got your vaccine, you know that the CDC follows up with you on a very regular basis afterwards, so you can report anything that goes on. And with the hundreds of millions of doses that have been distributed, this has been a highly scrutinized vaccine. With the EUA, you know, you don't get some of that longer-term follow-up data. In a normal clinical trial or a normal authorization process, they will look at how effective the vaccines are over a number of years. Here, we're going to have to see how they work over time. That might mean that we need boosters. We might find out that the vaccines are protective for several years. Also, there's a lot of concern about side effects, potential long-term effects. Typically, if a vaccine does have side effects, these show up within the first few days or the first few months after you get the vaccine. You know, the immune response and all that process usually takes, you know, about 6 weeks. So it'd be very rare or very unusual for a reaction to occur later on. Also, these vaccines break down in the body very quickly. They don't stick around. The body takes them up, it has the immune response, and then whatever was in the vaccine is broken down. So we expect that the Pfizer will have their emergency use authorization transition to full approval in a matter of weeks, hopefully by September. And then I expect that the Moderna and J&J vaccines will still follow. And again, they're still collecting tons of data. They're going to look at the antibody response. They're going to look at all the other responses of the immune system and keep an eye out for any adverse effects that occur in the long term, though that is very unlikely. Again, these vaccines have been rigorously tested. They're incredibly safe. They've been highly scrutinized, and I encourage you to move forward if you've had any doubts. Thank you.